What's up, legend?
How you doing?
How are you, sir?
Good to
It's an
see you,
honor to
right?
see you, man. Good to see you,
Good to
man.
see you.
Huge fights this weekend.
Absolutely.
I mean, are you excited for this or
Of
what?
course I'm excited. We're in New York City. I mean, you know, we had on last April one of the greatest events this city's ever seen with Taylor Serrano. And now obviously Amanda Serrano, some thought won that night, not me, but a lot of the people here, a lot of her Puerto Rican fan base, get a chance to see her make history at the weekend and become undisputed world champion. Very tough fight against Erica Cruz, the other world champion in the division. You've got Alicia Baumgartner going for undisputed, Richardson Hitchin, Franklin Riviera, a huge card, and looking forward to being back in New York.
Do you think Amanda, well, who is right now, we're going to find out this weekend, but who is, in your opinion, right now the best female boxer? Do you think that the champion right now in female boxing is currently the best fighter in boxing?
Yeah, I think that, you know, when you look at women's boxing, the one thing that we're finding is fans are getting bored with the champions not fighting the champions, the best not fighting the best. In women's boxing, that's not the case. They seem to be going for legacy. So like you've got Amanda Serrano, she's a 7-division world champion. She's going for undisputed this weekend. She's just fought for undisputed at lightweight. Now she's coming 2 divisions back down to fight for undisputed. And they just seem to want to be in big fight after big fight after big fight. So it's really interesting to see the growth of women's boxing. But every fight seems to be a great fight, you know, and it used to be a thing where it was like a token gesture from broadcasters to put female boxing on. Now it's got its rightful place on the card because of its quality, and that's how you get longevity. And you know, the Puerto Rican fan base here in New York, you saw it when she boxed Katie Taylor. You're going to see it again on Saturday night. You know, they love her, and she's a great from their country.
Hey, Jake Paul, what's his involvement? Like, what exactly does he do for her? Can you explain the relationship? Some people don't know.
Yeah, Jake Paul's the promoter for Amanda Serrano, you know, and has done such a great job for her in raising her profile. He's got this massive fan base that he has the ability to bring these fighters along on his journey to sort of consume his fan base as well. So he's pushed for her to get bigger purses, he's pushed for her to get bigger fights. He's done all that, you know, he was a part of the big show at Madison Square Garden against Katie Taylor, and you know, she's now getting what she's deserved. People don't realise Amanda Serrano's been grinding for years and years, making like $1,000 a fight. You know, she made 7 figures in the last fight. She makes a big payday Saturday. She's going to rematch Katie Taylor if she wins on Saturday as well. So, you know, rightfully so, and he's been a big part of that.
Yeah, I was going to switch a little bit. So Jake Paul actually has a big fight coming up. You were the first person to start making these super
My
fights.
fault.
Is it your fault?
Yeah.
I mean, so what are boxing fans, because you kind of know the boxing community is a strong community.
Yeah.
How does the boxing community feel about these super fights when you see these YouTube stars that actually...
I feel like, look, Jake Paul for me is no longer a YouTube boxer. He's now a professional boxer that's earned the right to have a go in like anyone can. You can go down, start in the gym, try and turn professional. Now, because he comes with a fan base and he's built that himself, he has the right to be in big fights, earning big money. And sometimes the boxing community don't like that. You know, I've been out here grinding for years and I can't get the opportunities. Tough shit. Life don't work like that. He's built the fan base to be able to do anything he wants. And he's putting the time in, he's doing the hard sparring, etc, etc. You know, when you talk about YouTube boxing, I did KSI against Logan Paul, 2 at the Staples Center. It was probably the biggest one yet.
Yeah.
And I saw the numbers, I saw the interest, I saw the fan base. But for someone that's been around boxing since I was 7, it was enough for me. You know, I'm a boxing enthusiast. You know, boxing is just so it's rooted within me, and I want to see the best fight the best.
So does that mean Eddie Hearn is checking out of the YouTube
Yes,
fights?
I said that after that fight. You know, I'm not going to do YouTube fights anymore, and there's a lot of money to be made from them as well. But it's just not in my heart. I don't mind it.
Yeah.
We've just got to distinguish. That's not professional boxing. YouTube boxing. That's celebrity boxing. It's a different format. It's WWE. It's entertainment. Whatever you want to be. I'm here for the sport and to see the best be the best. Now, the pressure we're under now is that if we don't make the best be the best, in the end the broadcasters will say, well actually this stuff's alright because it's doing good numbers, right? So boxing is under pressure now to make the great fights, because if not they'll get overtaken by this YouTube boxing, which will be a disaster for the sport. So I like it because I think it gives the promoters and the fighters and the managers and advisors a little kick up the backside and say you better make the big fights. But you know, there's a common perception in boxing that it's the promoter's fault that a big fight don't get made. We want big fights. That's where we make our money.
Yeah, but why is it so hard to make these big fights?
Because it's ego, it's people giving advice and advising people who know nothing about the sport. They've got an inflated version of the value in a fight, where we know the numbers right? Like black and white. We live and breathe the accounts, the boxing business. But if a fighter thinks this fight is 5 times bigger than your perception of the fight, you never get there. And Spence Crawford's a great example of that. You know, 2 guys that think that fight is going to do 2 million pay-per-view buys, yet have never been involved in a fight that have done more than 200,000 pay-per-view buys. You know, all of a sudden, I should be getting 20 million, and then another broadcaster comes in, gives Terence Crawford 10 million to fight a nobody, and therefore, he's like, I should be getting 20, 25 to fight Spence. And then some guy who, you know, Errol Spence met in the local restaurant said, you should be getting 30. You know?
Yeah.
And whereas the promoter's sitting there going, no, look, guys, I'll show you the money that's being brought in for this event, and you can split it. No, it's worth more than that. It's not, because they are the numbers, you know? So good luck to the fighters. You know, they're getting, sometimes, you know, people, there's always an argument about UFC purses, and, you know, UFC as a very interesting business model, you know, but boxing, the fighters are getting grossly overpaid, a lot of them, in terms of the commercial value. Good luck to them. It's a tough sport, but it stops the bigger fights from getting made, because then they think this fight is worth X, and it just doesn't generate the money. And simple business, simple maths will tell you, you should get paid what the fight generates. But in boxing, for some reason, that's not always the model of the business.
So, I mean, because the general boxing fan, we're sick of seeing boxers fight each other when they're too old. Like, for example, Mayweather, Pacquiao, they fought way too late in their career. Now we're seeing a little bit with Gervonta Davis and Ryan Garcia.
Yeah.
We're like, dude, can you guys just fight already?
Yeah.
Like, we're sick of the back and forth. How do we fix that to make sure we don't have to wait too long for these fights? I get it, the anticipation.
You know,
for these fights, the build-up,
to be honest with you, a lot of it has to come from the fighters. I think Ryan Garcia, Gervonta Davis is a good example of 2 younger fighters that say, we want that fight, right? We want that fight. The fighter is the boss. They're the ones that have to stand up and say, no, I want that fight. Yeah, because then the advisors, the promoters, the managers, they don't really get a say. Make me that fight. They've got to come out. Listen, you have to understand, a manager's job, an advisor's job, is to get a boxer the easiest fight possible for the most amount of money. That is their job. And the promoter's job is to get the fighter the toughest fight possible for giving them the right amount of money. All right? So when you're dealing with a manager and advisor and you're saying, I want you to take this fight, and they're going, I don't know, I'd rather take this fight here, and you know, that's what you're up against. So it's really down to the fighter, who's the boss, to say, no, I want it. And we've got to try and educate these fighters that money comes with legacy, right? But when you entered that boxing gym for the first time, you weren't thinking about taking easy fights and stringing out your career. You were thinking about being the best, fighting the best, being involved in nights that will be, you know, remembered forever, and creating a legacy in the sport. And that comes with money. It's not that we want to give you really tough fights and big fights and you not get paid. But that's when I go back to the female side of the sport. They want the biggest fights possible, because, you know, for years they haven't been able to get them or get the credit they deserve. Now they're thinking, well, we can come out, Taylor Serrano headline at MSG, big room, sell it out. You know, they got paid a lot of money, but they weren't thinking, oh, how much am I going to get? I want this, I want that, I want that. They're going, look, you know, they got the right amount of money. It was great business, and that's how the game should work. So